Tyler Hydrick, and I appreciate Dr. Bond for letting me come to this and speak with him. It's my second time to talk at this meeting. I'm a crop consultant from Northeast Arkansas. I got my master's under Dr. Bond at Mississippi State. I've been working with my dad for 12 years, long years, and then this is my third season owning my own business. We work in cotton, rice, beans, corn, peanuts. If our guys will grow it, we'll check it. But I work, my main counties are Craighead, Poinsett, and Mississippi. This is my daughter. The last time I talked at this meeting, she was actually about to be born, so she's grown up a lot since then. But anyway, the reason I put this in there was because this is kind of how I was feeling about June 15th, July 1st. I had about the same face as her every night when I came home.
No, you're the worst, dude.
But anyway, this is why. This is my backyard, and that is a lot of water in my backyard. And so one thing I want to note too, this date is always going to be up here because I've dated every picture. So just pay attention kind of to how we progress throughout the year. So 4/13, April 13th, we've got this much rain in my backyard. On the 15th, that pigweed is emerging right next to my corn that is emerging. So obviously I did not get a pre on that corn. And that happened a lot more than I'm proud to say. 4/19, grass showing up, and a lot of it. So drift, we're starting to get little things here and there, and why are we seeing them? Well, it's things like, we're trying to burn down our cover crops, or we're trying to get these pre's out in a short window because it's raining nonstop. So mid-April, it's about where we're at. We've got our corn plantings getting wrapped up. Planting rice as fast as we can. Every day it's dry, there's rice going in the ground. Beans, I don't think we put a single soybean in the ground in our area in mid-April, which is not typical. Cotton, we haven't planted any cotton, and our sprayers are running literally all night. If our guy has his own rig, it's running all night. So we start getting a whole bunch of drift calls. Or I say calls, I'm finding them. This is Roundup on our non-GMO corn. We have quite a bit of non-GMO corn in our area, particularly around Lake City, Jonesboro, and Brooklyn. But anyway, a lot of Roundup this year on our corn. And then I move into rice the next day, and I put this tweet up, and I want y'all to note that this was at 5:44. So unicorns don't exist, aliens don't exist, and there's not a blade of paraquat in Northeast Arkansas that doesn't have paraquat, and every one of the statements were true. You can follow me too. Anyway, at 5:59, so 15 minutes later, I walk into this field, and this rice, it's really hard to see, but it is hammered with gramoxone. I mean, one of the worst gramoxone events that I've seen as a consultant. We saw some bad ones when I was in school, so I'm not counting them, but as a consultant, this is one of the worst ones I've seen. So there's a field that, if you're looking like I'm looking right now, the field behind me, we were burning down for rice. We sprayed gramoxone sharpening command, and that gramoxone went for a solid mile all the way back here. And this rice was up to about 3 leaf. This rice was at 3 leaf. You can see the green rice right here and green rice right here. And that swath goes right through there. And we destroyed that corner right there. So this was our yield map from the field where you can see the swath. And it's pretty obvious, just based on the yield map, where that gramoxone went through. I mean, very obvious in my opinion. But we saw a lot of gramoxone on rice this year, and it's all from trying to spray this little guy. And they're coming up like wildfire at this point. And we're still getting rained on every week. Rice is getting planted. They planted cotton in our area, I swear to goodness, every field in 2 weeks. So we're trying to get the cotton sprayed with pre's. Beans are getting planted as fast as they can. They're trying to get the baler out. Rice pre-floods are going out this time. The corn is anywhere from this tall to this tall and hasn't been sprayed yet. So I mean, it was a nightmare scenario in Northeast Arkansas for a guy that's especially a weed scientist. So Welcome to the jungle is how I wanted to title this section. This is one of my cornfields that was the very first one we planted where the pigweed was. Never got a pre on it and could not get the post sprayed because it kept raining on this field. Every time it rained in our area, it seemed to rain on this field. And I don't know if y'all know what the atrazine cutoff on corn, but it's 2 feet. Is it 2 feet?
No,
12 inches? All right, so we were spraying at 3 feet. But I mean, you don't have, you got to get something out there. So this is another problem we had from the year before in 2018. We had all these peanuts, and peanuts bring you a lot of money, but peanuts are hard to get out if you overcrop. And last year with all the rain we had, everybody that grew peanuts was overcropped. And so we had all these peanuts that were laying out in the field. When we went to plant our cotton, all the peanuts came up with it. All right, well, Roundup does not kill peanut at all. Liberty is about 75% effective. You tank mix them, you might get 80%. Well, then the next flush comes, and the next flush comes. I don't know how much Roundup and Liberty ended up going out on that cotton field, but I'm ashamed to say it. And here's another one going from all those beans where we're spraying Valor. We went and sprayed this field with Loyal, and it pulled all that Valor out of the tank, and it smoked this rice field. That's just some typical PPO symptomology that you'll see on rice, and it was pretty obvious from the road that they had sprayed something that they didn't mean to. I mean, it was brown, you can tell that this is where the sprayer was stopping to get up on the turn row up here. But anyway, on a side note of that, I don't know if y'all have ever seen what Loyant's supposed to do, but this is what Loyant's supposed to do. Oh man, the video messed up. So that was the most effective kill with Loyant I've ever had. And that's what we expected it to do, and it actually cleaned a mess up out of that field. So anyway, we got a pretty good kill off that. Good Lord, I'll figure it out in a second. All right, another one here. This was Roundup and Liberty going out in an airplane, and I guess the pilot was just so busy or too tired from how much he's been working that he just didn't feel like turning the boom off when he made his turn. So this is obviously not Liberty resistant corn. So drug Liberty out all over the corn. This is typical Liberty symptomology on your corn. And there's a rice field right across the turn from the corn. So we got Roundup and Liberty all over this rice. And that ended up being about 100 acres that we had to replant that was 3 and 4 leaf rice. Or 2 to 3 leaf, sorry. But most of that just looks like Liberty, but the Roundup ended up taking it out anyway. Another Valor problem. We had one farmer that had to replant 600 acres from Valor injury this year. And it's all just from going too fast. I mean, we couldn't.
Is that a tank contamination?
That is tank contamination on that one. That was some of the worst Valor injury that I've seen. I mean, 600 acres, and that was this whole cotton crop. We had to replant on June 15th. Because of the Valor tank contamination. And that's way too late for our area to be replanting cotton. Way too late. We want to be done spot planting on June 5th. Here's another thing. I mean, this looks like, I don't know what you want to think it looks like, but I'll tell you what it is. That is grass in a soybean field that just got sprayed with Roundup a few days ago, and it's starting to turn yellow and starting to die off. They sprayed all the way up to this levee, and that's rice. And rice is susceptible to Roundup. So we're seeing this stuff every day. I mean, this a field that got sprayed with gramoxone on June 18th, and that's my rice, and that's what it looked like. I mean, there was stuff going everywhere, and we don't really know we're starting to get to know the ramifications of what all's going on because of Dr. Bond. But anyway, cotton field over here, Roundup and Liberty, rice field right here. Wind was obviously blowing this way because all that Roundup and Liberty is right there. This was just an error. Can anybody guess what happened right here? It's obviously a variety split, and this is 753, and this is 7311. This was supposed to be 4534. So when you spray New Path on non-clear field rice, you will kill it. And I never took a picture after that, but there was like one plant per 100 feet after we killed all that rice. There's your new paths, full rate of new path symptomology on non-clear-field rice. And this, I actually sent this picture to Jason and Bobby just talking about a good inversion picture, because this is a gravel road that I drove down to get to where I'm at. And so I came down this way and turned onto the turner. And that dust just settled right there, and it moved all the way across this bean field that I'm at. And I just thought it was a really cool inversion picture. When I was going through here, I was like, oh, well, that also shows another one of the scripts that we had this year. I told the pilot to not spray Rebel X because of the corn, or because of the beans and the cotton around us. So he didn't. He sprayed Clincher like we asked. He just forgot to take the permit out of the tank before he did it. So not only did my Clincher not work because we antagonized it with the permit, we drug the permit out over this guy's beans and cotton and had to replant it for him. So here's another thing. I mean, we're still spraying. It's July 23rd and we're planting beans behind the Mississippi River levee. Now, I don't ever want to see that again. I think they made 22 bushels, which is a lot better than I expected them to make. I really expect that to just be a nice duck hole, but I mean, steady rain, getting stuck, still people spraying. Our spray windows are tight. I mean, it's just nonstop. August 13th, that is a Case tractor pulling a John Deere drill planting beans on August 13th. One of my farmers sent me this. He's about my age, and his dad is a little bit older than my dad. My dad's worked for them forever. And stopped sending Dad the crop report so he'll stay off the sprayer. So what do we do now that all this drift is, we know it's coming, and what do we need to do in the future? Well, the first thing I want to talk about, and going into next year, is we need to know the plant back restrictions on all this stuff that's been sprayed. Because like that July 23rd soybean field, we had to put prefix on it. Couldn't spray dicamba because I'm in Arkansas. So the only shot I have is using prefix. Well, that's a bunch of reflex in July with a big plant back to corn, which that's not going to be corn, but for somebody that had that same situation, they might want to go into corn. You can't do that now. So we need to really look at all of our plant back restrictions. Zidua go into rice. If you had some late Zidua go out on your beans or something like that, there's a whole lot of things we need to be real careful of next year and need to look at that stuff. We really need to monitor the winds a little bit better and keep our herbicides out of there during inversions. I mean, it was almost impossible to not catch a sprayer running during an inversion every day. So if you have a drift problem, you need to work with your neighbor and get all the information from him. You need to know what was in the tank, how much of it, and then you need to make a phone call to either your consultant, county agent, weed scientist, or your state. Just do whatever you can to get the best recommendation going forward. And the last thing would be listen to what Jason Bond has to say about all this gramoxone that he's done work on. And you don't want to end up stuck in the drift ditch. If anybody knows anything about, that's a big fella. And that's some pink buckets. And I'll leave it at that. And that's the University of Arkansas truck.